Greg Northwoods to the Rockbound Post and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, a bad house fire broke out in Jonesboro yesterday. We'll have the story for you coming up. Plus, the Maine legislature rushed to pass a supplemental budget plan as the session comes to a close next week. And veteran Maine broadcaster George Hale, who was recently taken off the air, was recognized for his extensive career before the Maine legislature as well. We'll take you there. Good morning, everyone. I'm Craig Colson. We'll have those stories and more coming up. But first, to check that forecast, it's looking like a pretty nice day ahead today. Looks like we'll have some breaks of sunshine and pretty warm temperatures for this time of year. It will sure feel nice. Let's turn things over to Devin Biggs for a first look at our forecast.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Happy Friday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Clifton General Store. Start your morning right at Clifton General Store. Fresh coffee and hot breakfast, family owned and operated. Alrighty, here we go. We have a small craft advisory that will be expiring this morning. We've been watching for some active surf that has been occurring along the coast, and we'll be monitoring that as we do move forward in time. Meanwhile, the radar, we've been seeing a little bit of moisture aloft. We've been having a weak wave of energy passing through, but otherwise, another nice day taking place across our neck of the woods. As we do zoom things out, we have more energy further off toward the west, and we are going to be watching for some rain opportunities that will be moving in rather soon. So Futurecast moving forward for today. Again, we'll have a lot of sunshine today. We'll have more clouds approaching later on tonight, and there's our first round of rain moving in, which is good news. Again, we're still in drought in our neck of the woods, some snow further off towards the north. Again, any precipitation will be welcome at this point. So some gusty winds as we do move forward today, up to around 20 to even up to 30 miles per hour, depending on where you're at. Hourly forecast moving forward, we'll have some sunshine and clouds today. Temperatures overall in the 50s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
All right, thank you very much, Devin. And if you're just tuning in right now, Janessa has been here all morning, but she's heading out for this hour because, excuse me, because I'm all choked up. We're going to learn some self-defense techniques. She'll be doing a story on that, and we'll look forward to seeing more on that tonight and also on Monday morning here on Good Morning Maine. All right, let's get to the news. Everyone is safe following a bad house fire in Jonesboro. It was late Thursday afternoon when crews were called to a home across from the Jonesboro Grange on the Harrington Road. Genesia Rizza posted on social media that it was her mother's home that was burning. She says her mom had gone to a store and something exploded while she was away. Firefighters worked quickly to snuff out the flames and were on the scene well into the evening. The cause of the fire is unknown at this time. Firefighters also battled a raging house fire in the Aroostook County town of Westfield. This is video of the fire taken by onlookers and posted on social media. WAGM reporting that the Mars Hill, Presque Isle, and Easton fire departments all called to the scene on the Holton Road yesterday. Forest rangers were also on the scene to help with the resulting grass fire, which was spreading to other homes. More information on that fire is expected to be released later today as well. In other news, candidates seeking the governorship gathered in Newport last night as the Newport Economic Development Committee hosted a gubernatorial debate. Despite organizers saying all candidates were invited, the field was primarily made up of Republicans. One notable absence was Senator Jim Libby, who announced earlier that he is withdrawing from the race. During the debate, candidates were asked about some of Maine's most pressing issues, including health care and affordability. Organizers say last night's event was part of their mission to help make politics more accessible to folks in more rural communities.
Decided to host this in Newport because in Newport we really service 8 other different towns as far as Heartland, Etna, Dixmont, different things like that, and Newport's kind of the hub of where stuff is. And now more than ever, this is such an important election cycle that we need to have candidates here right from the people in their constituents around the parts of the state.
The Newport Economic Development Committee is hosting a similar debate with candidates running for Senate. That'll take place next Thursday at 6 o'clock at the Newport Rec Center. The Maine legislature raced to pass a supplemental budget plan before the end of the session next week. The current proposal is more than $500,000 and includes a 2% tax on Mainers who make more than $1 million a year. It also includes $300 direct relief payments to more than 500,000 Mainers to help them with the rising cost of living. They were back in session Thursday working to formally enact the measure. Meanwhile, the Senate continued to work toward their initial vote, with support sharply divided along party lines.
The budget has mostly good things. I understand people have complaints about certain things, but it fully funds the public schools, continues a free education, community college education. It fully funds health care and raises reimbursement rates for hospitals and providers.
I think, frankly, it's an embarrassment, and I think we saw that in some of the amendments that were offered in the Senate, that there's a lot of concern across the spectrum in a cross-partisan way about the budget and its insufficiency and deficiencies in dealing with the issues that real Maine people are dealing with.
Well, after a lengthy debate, the Senate passed that budget. The final vote was 18 in favor and 16 opposed. Supplemental budget package brings Maine's total two-year budget to nearly $11.9 billion. And Governor Mills says that she'll sign it into law as well. Well, the Maine House of Representatives voted yesterday to table a potential repeal of the 72-hour waiting period currently in effect for those purchasing a firearm in Maine. The resolve narrowly passed in the House by a vote of 77 to 70 and will now move on to the Senate. Right now, a gun seller must wait 72 hours before they can deliver a purchased firearm to a buyer. That waiting period was first instituted by way of legislation passed 2 years ago following the Lewiston mass shooting. Before the vote, some lawmakers cited research that said suicide is often an impulsive act committed during a crisis and called the waiting period essential to preventing suicide by reducing immediate access to lethal means. Others said the rights of gun owners should prevail.
The majority of people who attempt suicide and who are rescued do not go on again to kill themselves. But those folks who get their hands on a gun rarely have that second chance.
Maine's Constitution doesn't leave room for delay, doubt, or discretionary impositions, yet a mandatory waiting period does precisely that. It questions and obstructs the right of Mainers to exercise their fundamental constitutional freedom.
The law requiring the waiting period had been challenged via the court system as unconstitutional, but last year a federal judge in Maine blocked enforcement of the law. But in the last week, a 3-judge federal appeals court panel overturned that ruling, saying the waiting period was likely constitutional. With the vote yesterday, the state legislature will now wait for the current litigation to play out in court before moving on with a potential repeal. On Thursday at Bath Iron Works, Senator Susan Collins spoke about the Iran conflict, calling the ceasefire messy, but saying she thinks there will be better talks this weekend. Senator Collins and Senator Angus King both speaking at BIW yesterday. They're calling on the Trump administration to add more DDG-51 destroyers to the budget, saying the U.S. needs to keep pace with China's growing fleet. They both also talked about where they stand on the war with Iran.
My hope has always been that this would be a brief but successful conflict that would eliminate the ballistic missiles that Iran uses as a shield for its nuclear enrichment.
I think the war was illegal from the start. The president has an inherent power to defend the country in a case of an imminent threat. There was no imminent threat from Iran. Iran has been threatening for 47 years, but there was nothing to precipitate the level of contact that ensued after Israel and the United States entered into the bombing campaign.
The University of Maine Faculty Senate is raising concerns about the, quote, lack of direction and strategic plan for the University of Maine. It was all detailed in a letter that we have obtained sent by the Faculty Senate to the university president, chancellor, and the Board of Trustees. Our Grace Blanchard has the details.
An 8-page letter titled A Letter from Faculty Senate on Leading the University into the Future was sent to UMaine President Joan Farini Mundy, UMS Chancellor Daniel Malloy, and the UMS Board of Trustees. In the letter, the Faculty Senate levels criticisms against the university's leadership, fiscal responsibility, and transparency. The Senate wrote that they believe the university is poorly prepared to face the challenges ahead and is lacking a clear strategic vision.
Not having clear direction, clear strategy, it makes it very difficult for faculty to organize their work and to focus on their priorities.
Recently appointed Faculty Senate President Henry Okono says their concerns highlight a more serious issue of disconnect between administrative leadership and faculty, which he says has contributed to low faculty morale.
If faculty have low morale, it's hard for them to teach the way they are supposed to. It's hard for them to do research at the level that is expected of each one of us.
According to Okono, the Faculty Senate met with administration on April 7th in an executive session where they discussed the contents of the letter. He says they are giving the administration more time to address the concerns.
One of the things that we're focusing on moving forward is some of our shared interest in bringing UMaine into the future, making sure that it's strong, making sure that we're serving our students and the state and our constituents to the best that we can.
The Faculty Senate has also requested that President Farini Mundy make a statement about the letter during their upcoming meeting on April 15th.
We intend to work together to find solutions to this problem. We all believe UMaine is a great university.
Grace Blanchard reporting for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And we have received a response from a spokesperson from the University of Maine system who says UMaine and UMS value shared governance and takes its faculty's feedback very seriously. All right, the time now is 8:11. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, the closure of the paper mill in Bucksport caused a ripple effect in the town, and now it's found its way into the budget this year. We'll tell you how. But first, another look at the forecast. A nice day ahead today. It'll be a partly cloudy and breezy day with highs right up near 60 degrees. Mostly cloudy with a chance of rain tonight, lows dropping down to the upper 30s. Tomorrow will start off on the wet side, but otherwise a partly cloudy Saturday ahead with highs near 51. We'll be right back.
At Toyota, we believe longevity is the true measure of affordability. The longer something lasts, the further your money goes. So with Toyota being the longest lasting brand, your money goes the furthest. Now, during our longest lasting value event, you could get a $259 a month lease on an all-wheel drive Corolla Cross SUV with a $14,064 total contract cost and 2 years no cost maintenance. See your New England Toyota dealer, your all-wheel drive headquarters. Toyota, let's go places.
Bangor, ready to get rugged? Join the community April 20th for the massive grand opening of Rugged Roots Trading Post, Stillwater Avenue, Bangor. Meet the crew. Explore a wide selection of premium Maine-grown products. Doors open 9 a.m. Cut rate prices you won't believe. Can't wait till 4/20? They're open now. Or visit ruggedrootstradingpost.com. For use only by adults 21 years of age and older. License number AMS 1775.
It's mowing season. And Bad Boy Mowers has the best lineup in the game. Built to win with more power, advanced engineering, and performance that never quits. Whether you're playing on this field or this field. So this mowing season, raise your game and join the team. Bad Boy, mow with an attitude.
It's Saturday, and you're giving it up like a sacrificed butt. 'Cause tonight, the meat of the order is up.
Oh, baby! It's gone!
Red Sox.
Oh, the catch!
Cards.
My goodness, wow!
In prime time on Fox. If it's Saturday night, it's baseball night in America. Saturday at 7 Eastern on Fox. Check local listings.
Heating oil prices aren't showing any signs of dropping soon. The Maine Department of Energy Resources' latest weekly survey shows the average statewide price was $5.43 a gallon on April 6th. That's a 42% increase since the Iran war began. According to the department, Maine consumes more residential heating oil per capita than any other U.S. state and consumes significantly more per capita than any other New England state. Approximately 50% of all Maine households rely on fuel oil as their primary heat source, although that figure has declined from 70% back in 2010. Financial assistance for home heating oil is still available through the Home Energy Assistance Program that is administered by Maine Housing. The Heart of Ellsworth has launched a downtown housing opportunity project. They say the project is aimed at increasing housing availability, activating underutilized spaces, and supporting long-term economic vitality. In addition to identifying housing opportunities, they say the project will strengthen the City of Ellsworth and Heart of Ellsworth's ability to attract developers, investors, and new businesses by providing clear, accessible data about downtown properties and development potential. City of Ellsworth Economic Development Director Twyla Fisher says, quote, "One of the biggest opportunities we have in Ellsworth is within our existing buildings. This project will help us identify underutilized upper floor spaces and turn that knowledge into actionable strategies to support both housing and growth." Veteran Maine broadcaster George Hale, who was recently taken off the air, was recognized for his incredible career by the Maine legislature.
We all know what a magical medium radio is, and it was made better for your presence. With that, the chair is pleased to recognize in the rear of our chamber George Hale, Sue Pat, and Joe Pat from the town of Orrington. They are the guests today, the Senator from Penobscot, Senator Hagan, and the entire Maine State Senate. Would George please rise and accept our greetings?
Weeks ago, we spoke with George, who is now 93 years old, by way of telephone while he was vacationing in Florida. And that's when he confirmed to us that Blueberry Broadcasting said they were making changes to the George Hale, Rick Tyler show, and he had been told that he would no longer be part of it. On Thursday, Hale was lauded for hosting that show for more than 2 decades, along with his countless other aspects of his incredible career.
George, I'm so happy to be able to wish you well. You were kind of the voice of my childhood. I loved to listen to sports on the radio, and your voice was always there. The tone of your voice is the sound of basketball to me.
We all love him. We all appreciate him very, very much. He's a great man, deserves all the honors in the world, and we love you, and just wanted to thank you for all that you've done. Thank you.
Well, one lawmaker also mentioned that Hale is slated to be the Grand Marshal at this year's 4th of July parade right here in Bangor. Well, the closure of the Verso paper mill in Bucksport caused a domino effect of disruption for the town. And now, over 10 years later, that disruption has found its way into this year's budget. Our Doug Banks explains why.
This budget process is a challenging one for the town of Bucksport.
Historically, the town of Bucksport has appropriated funds for various local and regional nonprofits. Now, the town council is reevaluating and proposing that those funds be paused for this year.
And revisiting those funding levels during our budget process next year.
Organizations who receive annual funding from the town spoke before the town council during an April 2nd meeting, including Buck Memorial Library, who, per request from the town, reduced its ask of financial assistance by 33%.
You're looking out for the well-being of the town, and I'm trying to look out for the well-being of the library.
The Eastern Area Agency on Aging's communications director explained how they've internally discussed rescinding its $1,500 request from the town. But its 200 to 300 person wait list for its Meals on Wheels program complicates the matter.
Our current funding doesn't meet the need that's in the community.
The EAAA also became the provider of meals for Bucksport's Senior Center last year after RSU 25 withdrew its services.
We were no longer able to keep them afloat. We were costing them money.
Today's budget challenges in Bucksport can be traced back to the closure of the Verso paper mill over a decade ago. According to town manager Jacob Gran, after its closure, the town used a combination of fund balance and reserves accumulated when the mill was in operation to reduce the town's tax rates and offset property taxes.
Last year was the first year that the town was no longer in a position to be able to do that, and that resulted in an increase in property taxes.
Gran says Thursday night's town council meeting aims to narrow down the funding levels for those nonprofits.
It's important to note that we still have 2 months left to work through this entire process.
In Bucksport, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
All right, the time now is 8:19. Coming up after the break, First Lady Melania Trump delivers an unexpected speech to the nation regarding sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. We'll hear from her. Plus, members of Holden and Ellsworth police departments hit the gym to help people fight back against Parkinson's disease. Those stories and more straight ahead on Good Morning Maine.
Chevy trucks are as capable and dependable as the Chevy people who drive them. You probably know one. Your sister, your buddy, the ones who always show up. They all have that little extra something. And maybe you got it too.
It's Chevy Truck Month. Get supplier discount for everyone pricing for over $8,300 in total value on this 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500. Plus, Costco executive members can get a $12.50 members-only incentive.
Are your basement walls bowing, crumbling, or failing? Hi, I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems, all things basementy. Our Stable Lock wall system offers a patented, affordable, and permanent solution to save your foundation walls. It stabilizes, fills voids, and structurally repairs, leaving a new smooth surface. All the strength of new walls. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basementy.
Car accidents can be scary. It can feel like the whole world is crashing down around you. You can't work, you've got expensive medical bills, pain and suffering. Absolute chaos. We'll take the stress and frustrations off your shoulders. We've done that for thousands of people, and we're ready to help you too. Hurt in a car accident? I'm on top of it. I'm your go-to guy.
Call 222-2222.
Need a safe and caring place for your loved one during the day? At the Merchant Center Adult Day program, we provide a supportive environment where adults can enjoy companionship, engaging activities, and personalized care in a setting that feels like home. Our experienced staff is committed to meeting each person's unique needs while promoting independence, dignity, and overall well-being. Families can feel confident knowing their loved ones are in compassionate, capable hands.
Members of the Holden and Ellsworth police departments hit the gym on Thursday morning to join a group that is helping people fight back against Parkinson's disease, one punch at a time. Thousands of Mainers are battling the daily challenges of Parkinson's. The Maine-based group Rocksteady Boxing Bold Coast has designed an exercise program that aims to help slow the progression of the disease. In recognition of April being Parkinson's Awareness Month, officers from Holden and Ellsworth PDs donned boxing gloves and joined a class at Titan Athletics in Brewer.
We see some people here, they're walking a few months ago in a walker, and they have been coming consistently, and now they can walk with a walker, and the exercise is really good medicine for this disease.
I drive a lot for my job, and I would drive a few hours and start to feel stiffness to the level of pain. And since I've been taking this class, at some point those symptoms disappeared. So it's been helpful for me in that way.
The group was also surprised to receive a $500 donation from Holden's 25 Days of Kindness campaign. That money will go towards purchasing new equipment, membership fees, and other expenses to help them keep their mission going. Anyone interested in taking part in the program can sign up for classes, which are held on Tuesdays and Thursdays as well. Sounds like a great program. All right, the time now is 8:23. Let's turn things back over to Devin for a full look at that forecast.
Thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Clifton General Store. Start your morning right at Clifton General Store. Fresh coffee and hot breakfast. Family owned and operated. Alrighty, here we go. The last of that small craft advisory will be expiring this morning, so we're now done with that as the wave heights will be backing off. Let's check that out, and they are calming down. They're at around 3 to 5 feet. Still a little bit active further off towards the north and east. Farther out towards sea, a little bit higher at around 2 to 6 feet at this moment in time. Meanwhile, on land, we've had that little bit of energy passing through. Some moisture along aloft. And overall, the wind will be the story today as the winds pick up to around 25 to even 30 miles per hour at times today. But we have some more energy further off towards the west, and we are going to be watching for some rain moving in, some snow across the northern parts of the state coming up, which we'll definitely welcome. We're still in drought across a good part of the state. So futurecast moving forward, lots of sunshine today. We'll definitely enjoy that too. Notice rainfall moving into a good part of the state later on this evening, and even more rain coming up overnight. Some snow to the north. This will start to clear out as we head towards Saturday morning. The winds turn out of the north. Some clouds and sunshine throughout Saturday afterward. Then things clear out as we head towards Saturday night and the parts of Sunday morning. And as for the rainfall, at least for the first round of things, around 1/4 to 1/2 inch of rainfall before we're all finished up. We'll definitely welcome that as we do move forward. And then we have even more precipitation on the way, even as we head towards next week. So between now and next week, a lot of water on the way. Again, we'll definitely welcome that. Again, as we definitely are in drought across a good part of the state, moderate to severe drought. Again, we'll definitely welcome this. Otherwise, for today, here we go. Partly cloudy and breezy, highs in the upper 50s, and that south wind at around 20 miles per hour. Later on tonight, we have upper 30s, mostly cloudy rain showers and a light and variable wind. Everything gets a little busy again tomorrow. Some morning rain, then partly cloudy, lower 50s for the high. Northwest wind at about 30 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Clifton General Store. Mostly sunny for your Sunday with highs in the mid-50s. Rain showers Monday, highs in the low 60s. Mid-60s Tuesday under a partly cloudy sky.
Smarter safety, better efficiency, more for your money at Quirk Hyundai in Bangor. Lease a 2026 Hyundai Tucson, just $299 a month. Or a 2026 Elantra, only $219 a month. It's your Hyundai. Find it at Quirk.
$1 million every year for the rest of my life, and maybe yours too.
Need a driveway paved or an entire road surfaced? Give Eaton Paving and Excavation a call. Eaton Paving offers a full line of excavation packages, from new home projects to new and replacement septics and driveways. We also install new shoreland and do shoreland repairs. Our operators have more than 75 years combined experience, and we have been delivering quality, professional service for nearly 3 decades. We strive to exceed your expectations. Give us a call today at 207-348-5630 or visit us at EatonPaving.com.
Playing it safe won't propel Maine forward. Conservative Jonathan Bush agrees. A new kind of Bush. He believes Maine needs to diversify our economy, cut property and income taxes. Conservative, Republican, disruptor, Jonathan.
When you get a little shout out at work, melt into your moment. Irresistibly smooth Lindor.
From me, the Lindt Master Chocolatier.
You'll be ready for whatever mud season throws your way at Quirk Ford in Augusta with the power and capability you expect from Ford Truck. Lease a 26 F-150 for just $399 a month or a 26 Maverick XL for only $299 a month. It's your Ford. Find it at Ford.
Now to First Lady Melania Trump's unexpected speech about the investigation into sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Overnight, we learned the First Lady's remarks took the White House by surprise, and survivors of Epstein's abuse are now responding as well. ABC's Sophie Flay has the details.
This morning, new reaction to First Lady Melania Trump's unprecedented speech, denying she had any relationship with sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
I never been friends with Epstein. Donald and I were invited to the same parties as Epstein from time to time. To be clear, I never had a relationship with Epstein or his accomplice, Maxwell.
The First Lady addressing the email she exchanged with convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell.
My email reply to Maxwell cannot be categorized as anything more than casual correspondence.
Sources say White House officials were caught off guard by the First Lady's address, some asking why she was commenting on Epstein now. One source says there was discussion among people close to the First Lady about whether she should have addressed the issue, given that the public outcry over the Epstein files has subsided.
I think it's really time for the country to get onto something else, really.
But now, the First Lady is calling for congressional hearings for Epstein's victims.
Each and every woman should have her day to tell her story in public if she wishes, and then her testimony should be permanently entered into the congressional record.
A group of Epstein survivors now responding, accusing the First Lady of shifting the burden onto survivors rather than pushing for accountability. Writing, survivors of Jeffrey Epstein have already shown extraordinary courage by coming forward, filing reports, and giving testimony. Asking more of them now is a deflection of responsibility, not justice, and claiming the Trump administration has still not fully complied with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
Well, meanwhile, today is day 3 of President Trump's 2-week ceasefire with Iran. The White House has said the deal is fragile. And overnight, President taking issue with Iran's handling of the Strait of Hormuz, meant to be opened as part of that deal. Olivia Rubin has the latest on that story.
This morning, President Trump's ceasefire with Iran centering on a key issue, the Strait of Hormuz. Trump accusing Iran of violating the agreement, which called for the strait's reopening in exchange for a pause in the bombing. But Trump now saying Iran is doing a very poor job of allowing oil through the strait, where 20% of the world's oil flows. It appears so far only 7 ships allowed to pass through yesterday, this time-lapse showing the minimal traffic. President Trump writing, there are reports that Iran is charging fees to tankers going through the Hormuz Strait. They better not be, and if they are, they better stop now. But Iran also raising issues with the deal, pointing to Israel's sweeping attacks in Lebanon. The White House, though, insisting Lebanon was never part of the deal at all and urging Iran to let it go.
If Iran wants to let this negotiation fall apart in a conflict where they were getting hammered over Lebanon, which has nothing to do with them and which the United States never once said was part of the ceasefire, that's ultimately their choice. We think that would be dumb, but that's their choice.
And back in Washington, Democrats are pushing to vote on a war powers resolution that would require congressional approval for any future military actions, but it's not expected to pass the Republican-led Senate.
Now, the vice president and others will head to Pakistan this weekend for the first in-person talks, and the State Department now says it will also host talks between Israel and Lebanon next week. Olivia Rubin, ABC News, Washington.
Well, now to a new report showing women having fewer babies. In fact, the fertility rate has hit a record low. Andrea Fujii has more.
It's an undeniable trend. Fewer Americans are having babies. Just over 3.6 million were born in the U.S. last year. Sounds like a lot, but that's down 23% from back in 2007.
It's everything from less unintended teen pregnancies, that's a good thing, to women possibly having more kids later in life, to a whole other sort of social factors such as anxiety about the world and the cost to have children. All of it put together is likely why there are declining fertility rates.
Women are waiting longer to have babies. Birth rates are rising among women in their 30s and 40s, but experts say not fast enough to replace births from younger women.
There's many reasons people are delaying childbirth. Part of it is people are getting married later. People are more career driven. It's also less affordable now to not work.
But fewer children born overall means a declining population, raising concern about the labor force and wider economy.
I'll be known as the fertilization president.
To address the issue, the Trump administration has unveiled Trump accounts, investment accounts for children born after January 1st last year that come with a $1,000 government contribution. New York's mayor just announced his new attempt to help parents: free full-day daycare for preschoolers in high-need neighborhoods.
Holding down a 9-to-5 and managing pickup and drop-off at a traditional 3 p.m. time can be unmanageable. We see parents who are forced to either miss important work obligations, reduce work hours, or shell out for secondary childcare.
Some analysts worry about falling birth rates' impact on Social Security. Fewer Americans working means fewer Americans paying into the system.
Andrea Fujii, ABC News, New York.
There's a sad update to bring to you regarding a story we had near the top of the newscast today. You may recall hearing about that big farm fire they had in the Aroostook County town of Whitefield. Well, unfortunately, it sounds like they did find a man's body in the rubble of that burning home. One man was trapped in the fire. The body was taken to the medical examiner's office in Augusta to determine a cause of death. At this point, they don't know what started that fire yesterday. Apparently, they believe, though, it started somewhere around the barn and spread from there. We'll have more on that as soon as more information is available. Meanwhile, when we come back this morning, in the newscast, we'll have the latest on the Artemis II crew as they get ready to splash down upon their arrival back on Earth. Don't go away.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
We've got a 100-year-old company here, and it's because of the service, the quality, and the experience. It gets done right.
I think we've been doing it for so long. The only thing that we do, that when we walk into a room, we automatically know how to treat that window. We can take any product that the customer's looking for and make it work in just about any situation that they present us with. So
There's no reason to be overwhelmed. No. We can help you through it.
We're not going anywhere. We've been around for 100 years.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Friday, April 10th, 2026, and this is also National Hug Your Dog Day. Our dogs deserve all the love and affection we can give them, which is why there's a special day dedicated to giving them a good hug. Hugging your dog releases a feel-good hormone in both pup and person called oxytocin. Not only will a tight squeeze strengthen your bond, but will also show your pet how much you care. Just make sure your dog is the type of dog that likes to be hugged. Not all of them do. All right, time for some history. It was on this day back in 1849, the safety pin was patented by a mechanic in New York. Walter Hunt would then sell the rights for the safety pin for just $400. In 1925, F. Scott Fitzgerald's third novel was published to mixed reviews. Only 25,000 copies of The Great Gatsby had been sold by the time of his death, but it is now considered a classic and sells more than 500,000 copies a year. In 1963, the nuclear submarine USS Thresher sank during deep diving tests off Cape Cod. It sank more than 8,000 feet to the ocean floor, killing 129 people on board. An investigation determined the probable cause of the disaster was a pipe failure that caused flooding and a loss of electrical power. In 1970, Paul McCartney announced that the Beatles broke up, and in 1998, the Northern Ireland peace talks concluded as negotiators signed the Good Friday Agreement, ending 30 years of bloody fighting. And finally, in 2019 on this day, scientists released the first image ever made of a black hole. It was captured by a team of scientists using the Event Horizon Telescope. It revealed a fiery donut-shaped object in a galaxy 55 million light years away from Earth. Just incredible. All right, for birthdays today, they include actor David Harbour from Stranger Things. He is 51 today. Actress Mandy Moore turns 42. And singer Maren Morris is 36 years old today. Happy birthday to them and to you also if your birthday is today. We hope you have a great day. All right, before we move on, let's turn things back over to Devin Biggs for a check of that forecast.
Thank you very much. Happy Friday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Clifton General Store. Start your morning right at Clifton General Store. Fresh coffee and hot breakfast. Family owned and operated. Alrighty, here we go. We have a small craft advisory that will be expiring this morning. We've been watching for some active surf that has been occurring along the coast, and we'll be monitoring that as we do move forward in time. Meanwhile, the radar radar, we've been seeing a little bit of moisture aloft. We've been having a weak wave of energy passing through, but otherwise another nice day taking place across our neck of the woods. As we do zoom things out, we have more energy further off toward the west, and we are going to be watching for some rain opportunities that will be moving in rather soon. So Futurecast moving forward for today. Again, we'll have a lot of sunshine today. We'll have more clouds approaching later on tonight, and there's our first round of rain moving in, which is good news. Again, we're still in drought in our neck of the woods, some snow further off towards the north. Again, any precipitation will be welcome at this point. So some gusty winds as we do move forward today, up to around 20 to even up to 30 miles per hour, depending on where you're at. Hourly forecast moving forward, we'll have some sunshine and clouds today. Temperatures overall in the 50s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
All right, thank you, Devin. Now for the latest on what's happening in Hollywood, here's ABC's Jacqueline Lee.
It's the weekend that festival fans have been waiting for. Coachella kicks off Friday in Indio, California. Sabrina Carpenter and Justin Bieber are headlining for the first time. Other acts include The Strokes, Karol G, David Byrne, Iggy Pop, Devo, and Addison Rae. But there's no need to go to the desert. You can watch the whole festival live on YouTube. The Tony Awards are usually hosted by Broadway stars, but this year's Tony host is Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominee Pink. The chart-topping singer will do the honors at the ceremony in New York on June 7th. In a statement, Pink calls the gig, quote, the honor of an entire lifetime. The nominees for the Peabody Awards have been announced, and in the entertainment categories, the nominees include TV shows The Pit, Pluribus, Heated Rivalry, Jimmy Kimmel Live, Dying for Sex, Andor, and Adolescence. The winners will be revealed at a May 31st ceremony in Los Angeles.
Are you Kara's daddy?
And happy birthday to actor Haley Joel Osment. The Sixth Sense star turns 38 today. That's what's happening in Hollywood. Jacqueline Lee, ABC News.
Boy, where does time go? When we come back, Jack Webb with sports and the latest on Artemis 2. Don't go away.
With over 30 years of experience, Patriot General Contractors knows how to get your home renovation project done right. Our certified contractors can help you build, redesign, or finish the project of your dreams. Check out Facebook page for reviews and visit patriotgeneralcontractors.com to schedule your quote today. Patriot General Contractors, redesigning your properties for the future.
When I was 29, I was diagnosed with cancer, and I think part of research and advocating for more money for cancer research allows survivors to have more time. Senator Collins supports and advocates for more funding for cancer research so that people can have better treatments, they can have better outcomes, and therefore they can live better lives as cancer survivors. Thank you, Senator Collins. Continue fighting for our families.
My name is Rebecca Babrot, and I'm studying my master's in social work at the University of Maine. After high school, I went to college in upstate New York, but then got involved with life and family, so I had a college education but no degree. When I first thought about going back to school, it seemed really intimidating. One of the great things about an online program is that you can combine studying as part of your day. I'm actually studying right now. It's such a great feeling to have made myself important in the process and to continue my education.
You know Matt pretty well. Did he give you any advice?
He said that I should use 26 words or more.
When every word counts.
Trash panda.
Raccoon.
Yeah, hand me a trash panda. That was gangster.
It pays to choose wisely.
Wed, Thurs.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You just won it!
25 words or less every weekday.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
Your goal is to put items in the correct order before,
in between,
definitely after.
This is The Perfect Line. Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
Welcome back in, folks. Big news out of Herman on Thursday as former NASCAR driver Ricky Craven has partnered up with Darlings to sponsor the Pro Stock Series starting this summer. Our Max Sturm caught up with Craven and the Darlings team.
You can see the passion. And that's what we're about.
Thursday marked another exciting day for race fans in Central Maine.
as Darlings has partnered up with Ricky Craven to be the official sponsor of the Pro Stock Series and the official car and truck of Ricky Craven Speedway presented by Bar Harbor Bank and Trust. The partnership is one that Craven and Jay Darlings say is a perfect fit.
To be able to team with Darlings, official car, official truck, and the Pro Stock Series sponsor, it just brings it all together.
Seeing the new direction, the new vision, it was really a big part of us stepping up and spending more money and partnering with them to provide a better, entertainment product.
Everyone was super excited, and a lot of the employees that raced over there are super excited now.
When Craven assumed ownership of the track last fall, he set out to restore the life the Speedway once had. He says the partnership with Darlings and the return of the Pro Stock Series is a crucial step in making that dream a reality.
We're bringing a brand of car and driver that simply hadn't been here for a long time, and it's going to be here in a capacity like it's never been.
The agreement with Darlings and other companies has already allowed for big changes to be made to the Speedway.
We have put a lot of effort and a lot of money into the backstretch. We've recreated that. It does not look anything like the old Speedway. It's going to be a beautiful racetrack when we're done.
Obviously really excited about the changes that are coming up and all the renovations that are being done there. It's going to be a great facility.
The 7-race season will begin on June 6th. Craven says above all else, he cannot wait for fans to experience an all-new atmosphere on race day.
The fans will see something different. They'll see quite an improvement when they arrive on June 6th. That'll be our maiden voyage. We're quite excited about that.
In Bangor, Max Sturm, ABC7 and Fox 22 Sports.
Thank you for that, Max. Something for racing fans to look forward to this summer. We'll go to Boston now and hit the ice, where the Bruins are looking to officially clinch a postseason berth here in the coming days. The Bruins didn't play on Thursday, but they could have clinched a berth with this formula. Stay with me, I wasn't a math guy. Here's the Maple Leafs win over the Islanders, paired with a Buffalo win over Columbus, also paired with a Flyers win over Detroit. But if the Bruins don't hit the 3-leg parlay to cash in a playoff berth, they can do the work themselves over the next 3 games, starting with the Lightning on Saturday, as the Bruins still have a great chance to make the Stanley Cup playoffs. Don't forget, first-round pick James Higgins is set to make his Bruins debut on Saturday. Let's check in on those scores. The Bruins did not clinch a playoff spot tonight. You see the Maple Leafs falling to the Islanders, Sabres getting the win, but the Red Wings also beating the Flyers. Bruins hosting the Lightning Saturday. A little Saturday matinee for you right there at 12:30. It was a playoff tune-up on the hardwood for the Celtics on Thursday night as they went to MSG to battle the Knicks in what could be a preview of the 2-3 matchup in the second round of the playoffs. Celtics trailed in the first, but they came storming back as Pritchard gets to the hole, gives the Celtics the lead. We go late to the fourth. Baylor Shireman had himself a night. 6 threes for him in this one, but it was Josh Hart who iced the game late. Yes, Josh Hart. First, this 3 to put the Knicks up 5 with Vucevic in his face. Then next possession, he delivers the dagger as the Knicks go on to win 112-106. Tatum scored 24, 13, and 8 in his return to MSG, where he was injured last postseason. We'll go local now, where former South Portland and Tennessee basketball star J.P. Estrella is heading to Michigan. The Scarborough native who played for the Vols the past 2 seasons will now join the defending national champs. The 6'11" power forward still has 2 years eligibility left. He fills a major role for the Wolverines. JP averaged 10 points and 10 rebounds a game for the Volunteers this past season, leading Tennessee into the Elite Eight, where the Vols fell to the eventual champion Wolverines. I mean, we've been spoiled. Now we got a Mainer who's atop the transfer portal rankings, going to the defending champs. Very cool story there. For now, that's all the time we have on sports. We'll be right back after.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust. We get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
Who has the best kept secret in Penobscot County?
We do!
Welcome to Maple Lane Farms, a fifth-generation family farm that's committed to providing you with the best quality products. Our farm-raised local and sustainable meat is flash frozen to lock in the freshness and natural flavors. Experience the top-notch quality of our meat that's naturally raised without any antibiotics or hormones. Get the best of both worlds, quality and affordability. Try Maple Lane Farms today, the candy store for the carnivore.
I have a house payment, I have a car payment, I have a giant child who eats me out of house and home. So $300 for 2 cell phones in this economy? No. I didn't know Spectrum had mobile services. The cost, that's what sold me. You're saving so much money. It's for the everyday person.
Real customers, real savings. Visit spectrum.com/save1000 to learn how to save $1,000 guaranteed.
Hey! That ought to do it.
Who hurt you?
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust, we get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
Countdown to splashdown. The crew of the Artemis II is coming home today. A dangerous journey, re-entering Earth's atmosphere. You might be surprised what the astronauts are also looking forward to once they get back on Earth. Here's ABC's Hannah Battah.
The Artemis II crew is just hours from one of the most dangerous parts of their mission, returning to Earth.
It's in my head about an hour and a half of things that have to go right. They're coming home pretty fast.
Today, the Orion spacecraft will separate from the service module that's been powering it. Orion's heat shield will protect the capsule from temperatures up to 5,000 degrees. As Orion enters Earth's atmosphere, it'll travel nearly 24,000 miles per hour. Then, parachutes will deploy, slowing down the spacecraft as it splashes down tonight off Southern California. The astronauts will then be brought to a Navy ship where they requested one thing in particular be waiting for them.
The biggest request that they had was uncrusted sandwiches.
As they anticipate those crustless sandwiches, they're packing up and pausing to reflect on their historic trip around the moon.
This is just the beginning, and there's nothing that we can't accomplish when we pull all of our differences together, not in spite of them, but when we pull them together and we work on something big for the good of everyone.
As Orion hurtles toward the Earth, the University of Pittsburgh will be one of 8 universities selected by NASA to help track its path. Students will use equipment to capture the spacecraft's radio signal to see where it is and how fast it's moving.
It's so gratifying to see the students accomplish this very cool task of, can we track and see, so to speak, the astronauts as they travel back and forth to the moon.
The students will pass on their findings to NASA. ABC News will bring you live coverage of the astronauts' return tonight, beginning at 7:30 Eastern. Hannah Battah, ABC News, New York.
I bet a lot of people will be tuning in, too. All right, let's turn things back over to Devin Biggs now for a final look at our forecast.
Thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Clifton General Store. Start your morning right at Clifton General Store. Fresh coffee and hot breakfast. Family owned and operated. Alrighty, here we go. The last of that small craft advisory will be expiring this morning, so we're now done with that as the wave heights will be backing off. Let's check that out, and they are calming down. They're at around 3 to 5 feet. Still a little bit active further off towards the north and east. Farther out towards sea, a little bit higher at around 2 to 6 feet at this moment in time. Meanwhile, on land, we've had that little bit of energy passing through, some moisture aloft, and overall, the wind will be the story today as the winds pick up to around 25 to even 30 miles per hour at times today. But we have some more energy further off towards the west, and we are going to be watching for some rain moving in, some snow across the northern parts of the state coming coming up, which we'll definitely welcome. We're still in drought across a good part of the state. So Futurecast moving forward, lots of sunshine today. We'll definitely enjoy that too. Notice rainfall moving into a good part of the state later on this evening, and even more rain coming up overnight. Some snow to the north. This will start to clear out as we head towards Saturday morning. The winds turn out of the north. Some clouds and sunshine throughout Saturday afterward. Then things clear out as we head towards Saturday night and the parts of Sunday morning. And as for the rainfall, at least for the first round of things, around 1/4 to a 1/2 inch of rainfall before we're all finished up. We'll definitely welcome that as we do move forward. And then we have even more precipitation on the way, even as we head towards next week. So between now and next week, a lot of water on the way. Again, we'll definitely welcome that. Again, as we definitely are in drought across a good part of the state, moderate to severe drought. Again, we'll definitely welcome this. Otherwise, for today, here we go. Partly cloudy and breezy, highs in the upper 50s, and that south wind at around 20 miles per hour. Later on tonight, we have upper 30s, mostly cloudy rain showers and a light and variable wind. Everything gets a little busy again tomorrow. Some morning rain, then partly cloudy, lower 50s for the high. Northwest wind at about 30 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Clifton General Store. Mostly sunny for your Sunday with highs in the mid-50s. Rain showers Monday, highs in the low 60s. Mid-60s Tuesday under a partly cloudy sky.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
Meet the toughest team in the game. Bad Boy Mowers and Bad Boy Tractors. These powerhouses will do whatever it takes to win. Putting in the work with unrivaled engineering, game-changing features like heated seats and an Alpine entertainment system, plus durable implements and style that's in a league of its own. Bad Boy Mowers and Tractors. Power, performance, attitude.
Chevy trucks are as capable and dependable as the Chevy people who drive them. You probably know one. Your sister. Your buddy. The ones who always show up. They all have that little extra something. And maybe you got it too.
It's Chevy Truck Month. Get supplier discount for everyone pricing for over $8,300 in total value on this 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500. Plus, Costco executive members can get a $12.50 members-only incentive.
Fox UFL Friday. The Orlando Storm.
Touchdown!
The Louisville Kings.
What a play!
Tonight at 8 Eastern on Fox.
Hey, yo, it's way too quiet. If it keeps up, then I might start a riot. Messi! Of course he did! Sensational!
Major League Soccer, Saturday on Fox.
Well, it was a bizarre sight for some in San Francisco's Soma neighborhood on Wednesday. That's a depiction of Elon Musk's head on a 4-legged, flesh-colored autonomous robot. Yeah, you don't see that every day. It's actually part of an art installation titled Regular Animals. It walked around surprising Giants fans ahead of Wednesday's game at Oracle Park. It's the work of a globally recognized digital artist named Mike Winkelmann, who is also known as Beeple. Wednesday was the first time one of his robots was deployed into a live public crowd.
There is not one person that stops by and doesn't take out their phone and take a picture of it. And I think it's just this mix of really high quality, I mean, it looks like a real head, with robotics, which everybody has seen these previews of, but so few people have seen them in person. And so it just feels like a glimpse of something.
This interactive stunt is a lead-up to Beeple's exhibition at the Node Gallery space in Palo Alto. on April 18th. People has also made autonomous robots with the faces of Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos as well. Kind of freaky looking. Well, when a hurricane threatens Tampa Bay, evacuating 20,000 animals just isn't an option. Well, now the Florida Aquarium has another way to protect all the animals there. Aquafence says it's donating their flood barrier system to the aquarium thanks to support from Tampa General Hospital, which already knows how well it works, as it protected the hospital during Hurricanes Helene and Milton. The aquarium says this will help them protect their research too. Right now, they're in the installation process. They're analyzing the property and have the engineers coming in and out. Their goal is to get that installed at the aquarium toward the later end of this hurricane season. It will certainly protect the animals, though, for many years to come as well. What a neat invention. All right, that'll do it for now, folks. We thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you back here on Monday morning. In the meantime, we hope you have a great weekend and a wonderful day.
Today on 25 Words or Less. He's not a voiceover